It is amazing how if you can use music to tune into a client's feeling state, you can reflect back through the sounds how that client is feeling. And so it's a bit like holding a mirror up to them.
We're born with music. The first sound we ever make as a human being is an ah or ah.
But music therapy is the use of music and sounds within an evolving therapeutic relationship to encourage and support the well-being of a person. And when we say well-being, we mean physical, mental, social, emotional and spiritual.
Music and music therapy is to do with rhythm. And if you look at music therapy, we are not there to tell a child how to play an instrument. We're there to show that child by participating. We find what is natural in every human being, which is music.
A lot more evidence-based these days to show that music is actually a very effective clinical intervention. There is more and more research around what happens in the brain when we listen to music. So the more that's discovered and learnt about the brain and how it is affected by music, the more music therapy is establishing itself in neuroscience. Music therapists work in hospital settings where they might work with someone who's had a stroke, and they can use music to help them recover movement. They can also help with their speech through something called melodic intonation, which is singing and tapping on the body. One of the amazing things about music therapy is that you never have to have played an instrument in your life. Obviously the important thing is that you are responsive to sounds, you're responsive to music, and you're curious. It is amazing how if you can use music to tune into a client's feeling state, you can reflect back through the sounds how that client is feeling. And so it's a bit like holding a mirror up to them. So even if you're considered a well person, music therapy can still be helpful to you. But certainly with people who are stressed, anxious, have maybe quite a lot of suppressed anger, they're in their busy, stressful lives, you know, having children running around doing X number of things. If they're able to take time out and experience music as therapy, it can be incredibly releasing and relaxing for people. What's so amazing is a music therapist can make something very simple and sound very beautiful without the client having any prior knowledge, so that they can invite the client to play something on a drum or a tambourine or just even on a keyboard, just playing the white notes on a keyboard in any order, in any way they like. The therapist can then tune into what they're playing using whatever they feel would be the right sound to tune in, the right instrument, and they could create this sort of weaving in and out sound which would just have different effects for the client. It's quite hard to measure the effects of the change, and I've had the privilege of being able to work with people over long periods of time, so it's between minimum of 6 months to maybe up to 2 years. And within that time I've seen a lot of people who've had extreme mental health conditions. If they're sitting there saying, if it wasn't for this intervention I'd had, I wouldn't be alive today. So I've had a fair few clients, mental health clients, over the years.
One young man said, I could hear my mother and the doctor saying, tomorrow we'll pull the plug because there's no hope. The mother was so distressed because this young boy had been an actor. He'd just finished making his first film. He was only 19. Handsomest young man, being a dancer, a singer. So he was full of life, full of activity. And you see him in a bed, and you do begin to think what life is ahead for this young man. And she asked if I would go into the hospital, and I sat with this young man, and I just started doing some Sanskrit chanting. And I chanted the ah, the o, the u. And this is a Western young man. I'm not talking about an Indian young man who would understand that language. I went in every day, and then one day we saw a flicker of an eye. And I went in and I started singing one of the Beatles songs, Yesterday, all my troubles seemed, just singing to him. And we saw the other eye flicker. And then the next week, I got the mother to give me recordings of his favorite music. And we put it on a record and we put earphones on, and every day she would play to him his favorite music. Within a week he was out of the coma.